Just to introduce the concept of one-eye 3D. With this you can see photographs in 3D, see normal TV in 3D, and see old paintings in 3D. All at no cost, just close one eye. Let's start with a simple cube test. With two eyes there's the usual issue as to which way these cubes are going. Close one eye however and all those issues go away. They're clearly 3D objects. Okay, so let's start with a picture with considerable depth. Just look at the picture normally for a while, for a couple of seconds, and then whilst looking at the center of the picture, close one eye. Now look at the hills in the distance. These are again sort of near the center of the picture where they're visible. Move down the hills to the shoreline and look along the edge of the shoreline to and fro. In places you will see it's obscured by the trees in the foreground right near you. Now move across the lake very slowly to these trees in the foreground, and again look up and down the trees and look around near the edge of the image, and you should be able to now feel that depth. Again, slowly across the lake, back to the hills, and whilst you're looking at those hills, the trees in the foreground will almost seem out of focus, as though they are very close to you and the hills are in the distance. And practice this for a little while and that depth should be very obvious. Okay, one-eye 3D basics. All images we see are assumed to be 3D. That is, we're looking in the real world. When we look at a photograph, both eyes see the same image. That is, there is a strong no depth signal, which again is correct because the thing we're looking at is flat. But look with one eye. The brain assumes the usual, i.e. 3D, and without the no depth signal, we see 3D. You need a little concentration to unlearn and become good at this. Can just take a few seconds or a little longer, and it gets easier with practice. If one eye is used to look at a 2D movie, the this is flat signal is again removed and we see 3D. But more amazing, a 2D movie contains usable depth information, and with a little practice the i3D movie is even more spectacular. Here is another i3D image with lots of 3D information. As soon as movement is recorded, the 3D takes on even greater reality. In particular, the rushes in the foreground enhance the 3D effect. Oh. Here is an inside view, which again renders itself to i3D very well. In this mode, the detail in the picture becomes more real and more interesting. Finally, here's another good picture of practicing i3D. In particular, the red berries come to the foreground and stand out tremendously in the i3D mode. One-eye 3D requires practice to get the full effect. Depth can appear in a few seconds, and the ease of the switch over to that 3D effect improves with brain training over time. Depth seems to be variable, but you'll know when you've reached that full 3D effect. I don't know of any health issues, but it is an extra skill, so probably beneficial. I use i3D momentarily when looking at photos or movies, just to enhance the experience by going into that space. It feels like you're actually there. It's actually like being back on that beach. Finally, if the early artists knew about i3D, it could in fact have become a standard practice for humans when looking at 2D paintings, which are in fact not natural, being flat, and could have caused eye strain.